Ever wondered what mysteries might be hidden in the texts that never made it into the official books of the Bible? Today we will delve into a fascinating universe filled with profound meanings, the Apocryphal Gospels. These texts, often forgotten or deliberately left out of the biblical canon, hold invaluable teachings that make us question and expand our understanding of spirituality, religion, and our own existence. To begin with, it is important to understand what the Apocryphal Gospels are. They are books that were not included in the New Testament during the canonization process by the Church. Many of these texts were written during the same period or shortly after the canonical Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They offer unique and sometimes controversial perspectives on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. One of the most well-known apocryphal texts is the Gospel of Thomas. Discovered in 1945 in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, this gospel is a collection of 114 sayings or logia attributed to Jesus. Unlike the canonical Gospels, which are narratives of Jesus' life, the Gospel of Thomas focuses on his direct teachings. One of the most striking passages says, "The kingdom of God is within you and all around you, not in buildings of wood and stone. Split a piece of wood and I am there. Lift a stone and you will find me." This teaching emphasizes the idea that divinity and spirituality are present everywhere and within ourselves, not just in sacred places. Here, we already have a deep reflection to make. How many times do we seek outside ourselves what we already possess internally? This incessant search for something beyond, for external enlightenment, often makes us forget that true transformation begins within us, in the way we look at our own consciousness and existence. Another fascinating text is the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. This gospel offers a very different view of Mary Magdalene, one of the most controversial and subversive figures in Christian history. Often painted as a sinner and prostitute by the canonical tradition, the apocryphal texts reveal her as a close disciple and an important messenger of Jesus' teachings. In one of the passages, Mary recounts visions and deep spiritual teachings offered directly to her by Jesus, suggesting that she had a leadership role in the early days of the Christian tradition. This gospel subverts many traditional paradigms about the role of women in spirituality. It invites us to reevaluate and perhaps recognize the importance of female figures who have historically been relegated to secondary roles or unjustly misunderstood. The message here is that true wisdom and spiritual leadership transcend gender and established prejudices. Moving on to another interesting text, we have the Gospel of Judas. Discovered in a cave in Egypt in the 1970s and later translated and published recently, this gospel offers a radically different view of Judas Iscariot, the disciple who betrayed Jesus. Unlike the canonical Gospels, where Judas is seen as a terrible traitor, the Gospel of Judas presents him as a necessary facilitator of the divine plan, instructed by Jesus himself to betray him to fulfill his destiny. This reinterpretation of Judas's role brings deep lessons about duality, about what we see as good and evil. Perhaps what we often interpret as something negative or a betrayal in a broader context is part of a growth process or a greater truth that is not always visible at first glance. It is a reflection on the roles we play and the importance of understanding that immediate judgment may not comprehend the entirety of reality. And we cannot forget to talk about the Gospel of Philip, one of the texts that most explores the theme of love and spiritual union. In this gospel, we find passages suggesting an intimate connection between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, described as his companion. The marital union is a great mystery. "However, I speak of Christ and the Church," states one of the passages. This humanized and relational view of Jesus invites us to reflect on love as a transformative and sacred force. Here we can reflect on our own relationships and how they are mirrors and paths of spiritual growth. Love in all its forms can be a powerful bridge for understanding ourselves and the world around us. It is a force that transcends the physical, linking soul and spirit in a constant dance of learning and discovery. The Apocryphal Gospels reveal an impressive variety of visions and teachings, many of which challenge our established conceptions about Jesus, his disciples, and Christian spirituality. But more than challenging, these texts invite us to delve deeper into the mystery of existence, to question and expand our spiritual horizons. If we stop to think, why were these texts excluded from the biblical canon? The selection of the books that make up the Bible as we know it today was a long and complex process, full of theological and political disputes. The religious leaders of the time sought to create a unified doctrine that could be taught and followed faithfully. Any text that challenged this uniformity, that offered different views or interpreted Jesus' teachings in an unorthodox manner, was considered dangerous and often suppressed. However, the rediscovery and contemporary analysis of these texts reveal that spirituality and the understanding of Jesus and his teachings are much richer and more varied than we could imagine. They invite us to an inner dialogue, to listen to different voices and perspectives that can lead us to a deeper and more holistic understanding of spirituality. And what can we learn from all this? The Apocryphal Gospels teach us about the importance of questioning, exploring, and seeking to understand beyond what is initially presented to us. They show us that spirituality is a personal and unique journey, not limited to dogmas or established boundaries. Each discovery, each new understanding, is a step towards a broader and more integrative truth. For those of you seeking personal and spiritual growth, who are interested in ancient philosophies, sacred texts, and hidden truths, the Apocryphal Gospels are an invaluable treasure. They remind us that the search for knowledge and truth is endless, and that we need to have the courage to question and open our minds to new possibilities. Our spiritual journey is a continuous construction, and the Apocryphal Gospels are like ancient maps, showing us paths we have not yet traveled. They are not definitive answers, but provocative questions that make us look within and reflect on the role of the sacred in our lives. I hope this lecture has awakened in you the desire to explore these texts and their messages more deeply. May we continue this journey of discovery together, always with an open heart and a curious mind. I deeply thank each of you for accompanying me on this journey into the mysteries of the Apocryphal Gospels. Let's continue to seek, question, and expand our spiritual horizons. Until next time.